noticed that they were talking about transfers in the transfer window at Arsenal's press conference today. Does what happens at Stamford Bridge, or certainly over the two legs, dictate whether Arsenal keep Alexis Sanchez and Mesut Ozil in this window?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? I think that obviously money doesn't talk to Arsenal at the moment because they've been offered all sorts of money in the summer transfer window and didn't accept it. Will they accept it if something comes along now? If they get heavily beaten tomorrow night, then perhaps they may decide to cash in. But I don't think he's under any pressure. The only pressure he's under, Arsene Wenger, with them players is are they bringing the rest of the squad down? Are they going to be bad boys in that dressing room? Are they not going to turn up for training and be part of it, you know, just waiting to get away? What's your assessment from the outside? It was the Crystal Palace game when Sanchez scored and one or two people said that as a squad they weren't united because they weren't all celebrating together. I think they're both. I think him and Ozil are easy targets when it's not going so well. When they played Chelsea the other night, it was them two that were outstanding for Arsenal. It's a difficult situation for Arsene Wenger, and you know, I don't know what is the best way to handle it. Do you sell players that don't want to be at the club, or don't want to re-sign, or you just make them stay?
It's all a bit strange. Do you think it's a coincidence that the performances of Sanchez and Ozil have gone up prior to the transfer window, and all of a sudden, you know, making themselves be something that other clubs want? But the problem is, if they are allowed to go, as you said, what is their attitude going to be within the dressing room if they stay? If Arsenal put their foot down and said, you're not going, you're just not leaving the football club, because how do you replace them?
Well, I think.
Do you need to replace them?
I think so.
Oh, I think without a doubt.
When you watch back that game against Chelsea in the league, they're the two best players for Arsenal. So, and I think he caused himself a problem when he allowed Oxlade-Chamberlain to go. Oxlade-Chamberlain had a year left of his contract, the same as them two boys, and he allowed Oxlade-Chamberlain to go, but he wouldn't let them go. And I think that they would have knocked on the door and said, "What's the difference? You know, we're not going to sign a new contract. He wasn't going to sign a new contract, but you allowed him to go to Liverpool. Why don't you let us go?" So I think that may have caused him a few problems when he allowed that to happen.
The reason I ask you if they need to replace them, so if they lose heavily tomorrow, or certainly over the two legs, with what they've got left, even with Ozil and with Alexis Sanchez, can they finish top four?
I think they're hard pushed to finish top four anyway.
So does it matter if they keep them?
They keep the two players. But I think you heard Arsene Wenger. I don't think Premier League sides now are in trouble for money. They don't need to take the money. Perhaps 10 years ago they'd have cashed in by now, but they don't need to because there's so much money floating around. So it's difficult. I think someone will test them. I think Arsenal will be tested in this window because they're two quality players. It's a question, do they still stand firm and then have to handle the consequences of keeping two unhappy players in that squad?
If Arsenal can get a hold of Thomas Lemar from Monaco, which seems to be, the talk seems to be Arsene Wenger's #1 target, then is he more likely to let one or both go?
I think he's got to do business before he allows them to go. He's got to, and that may be the signal.
Yeah. He said they're out there in the market looking for players, and I don't know if they put bids in yet, but they need freshening up, I think, Arsenal. Jack Wilshere's come back and he's given them a bit of freshness from within, but I just think they need that little bit of extra quality. Got to try and get into that top four. I agree with you, Al, that they're not good enough consistently enough.
Does that mean they need it more tomorrow than Chelsea?
Well, I don't know. I think, again, you want to try and win trophies, if you're top-level footballers, and there's pride and there's how you want to look back on your career.
I think Arsene does. I think Arsene needs it because the position he's in at the moment with the fans is, unless he does win something, or unless they virtually win every game and basically get in the top four, he's always going to come under pressure. And,
particularly on the back of the Forest result,
yeah.
You know, going out of 2 cups, or almost going out of a cup if they get beaten badly at Chelsea, does not look good. And again, it's going to be difficult times for Arsenal if they do take a reverse tomorrow.